Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? NFL draft has come and gone, and The Athletic polled NFL executives and gave them anonymity to speak openly. I love this. Every year, there's a college football, Athlon does this for college football, and they talk to college football head coaches and coordinators about other teams going into the season, and they give them anonymity. So you're always going to get better, more candid answers when someone is granted anonymity. You just have to determine, do you trust that outlet, that source of the information? So do you trust that The Athletic is talking to, when they say NFL executives, are they talking to general managers and vice presidents of player personnel, et cetera? Or are they talking to the guy who goes and gets the coffee and dry cleaning for the head coach? I will go ahead and give them the benefit of the doubt here. So I don't really care about what every other team in the NFL, what they had to say about every other team in the NFL. I was more interested in what they had to say about the Saints and the rest of the division. Here is the quick write-up on New Orleans. I'll read it to you. It won't take me too long, but you'll get the gist. So this is the write-up surrounding what anonymous NFL executives had to say about the New Orleans Saints draft. Atlanta is rebuilding, Carolina is in some turmoil, and the Saints are 4-0 against the Tom Brady-led Buccaneers. Perhaps that is why the Saints are behaving as if they are a player or two away from contending, despite Drew Brees' retirement and Sean Payton's resignation. That is not how the rest of the league views New Orleans, with Jameis Winston behind center. They talk about trading up to get Olave, taking Trevor Penning. One exec said, quote, "The Saints were mind-boggling how much value they destroyed by trading up." Another exec noted when the Saints enjoyed their historically great draft in 2017, they selected Lattimore Ramczyk in the first round without trading up. And they also mentioned that Hendrickson was taken in the third round as part of the Brandon Cooks trade. Also, Alvin Kamara was drafted with a high third-round choice acquired for a second-round pick in 2018. Quote, "They got solid starters in Olave and Penning, but it's just not worth what they gave up." That is the other thing that really stood out to me, is the teams who view the draft as a market and totally manipulate the market and understand how to, like Howie Roseman is great at it, compared to the teams that don't, the teams that trade up for this need or whatever the case may be. If you're trading up for Julio Jones, maybe I understand, because certain guys are so gifted and talented. But Chris Olave, as much as I love him, is not one of them. End quote. So you know what I did. Since this NFL executive pointed out that Howie Roseman of the Philadelphia Eagles, for those that don't know, knows how to manipulate the market and does it, as he put, quote, "Howie Roseman is great at it." Well, I wanted to go see what Howie Roseman's track record has been in Philadelphia. He's been in Philly since 2003, but he's been in that role as the GM or VP of player personnel since 2010. So I said, okay, let's go look up what the Eagles have done since 2010 and what the Saints have done since 2010. Same GM in place, still Mickey Loomis. Howie Roseman in Philly. Saints didn't change their approach since 2010. Hell, they traded up for a punter in 2009. That ended up being Thomas Morstead, by the way. You remember what they gave up for? Nope, because it doesn't matter. Howie Roseman in Philly since 2010. The Eagles have had 4 double-digit win seasons and an overall record of 192-1. Above 500, but 100, winning record, 192-1. In that same span, since 2010, with Mickey Loomis as the GM. The Saints have had 7 double-digit win seasons and are 121-72. The Saints are 20.5 games better than the Eagles over the time that Howie Roseman has been in charge in Philly, overlapping with Mickey Loomis in New Orleans since 2010 on. That doesn't even include the Super Bowl year for New Orleans. Yes, Philly did win a Super Bowl. Yes, they did. With Nick Foles at quarterback. Whatever. And if you're really going to sit here and sell me on Howie Roseman understanding how to manipulate the market and find value, they traded up to take Carson Wentz, paid him a buttload of money, and then dumped him, eating $40 million in dead money, the largest such dead cap hit in NFL history. If you're going to say, if you are really going to make the argument that certain teams know how to manipulate the market and manipulate the draft and understand value, okay, like if that's going to be your argument, cool. You got to do better than Howie Roseman. Like, I could argue that that is a clear-cut example of how not to draft. They took Jalen Reagor in the first round instead of Justin Jefferson. A pick apart? Like, please don't tell me if you want me to actually find merit in your comments that Howie Roseman is your example of a dude who knows what he's doing. Come on. What this proves, like this is proven over and again, is that there are so many different ways to handle the draft. And if you have built up a roster that's competent and competitive, then you don't need to make 7, 8, 10 picks. Why make 10 picks if they're not all going to make the roster when you can move up, take 5 that you're confident all 5 are going to hit? If Chris Olave in 6 years from now is a consistent Pro Bowler and a 1,000-yard receiver, nobody's going to care that the Saints moved up to take him because it would have been worth it. You're not even going to question what that draft capital could have been. It's all about if you hit on the picks. And if you're convicted on a player and you're bullish and you go get him, okay. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But the same can be said how it goes both ways. But the other part of this, too, that I got to point out is where it started, is the lead. Where they wrote, Atlanta is rebuilding, Carolina is in some turmoil, and the Saints are 4-0 against the Tom Brady-led Buccaneers. Perhaps that is why the Saints are behaving as if they are a player or two away from contending, despite Drew Brees' retirement and Sean Payton's resignation. That is not how the rest of the league views New Orleans with Jameis Winston behind center. That's fine. The rest of the league doesn't have to be sold on New Orleans or Jameis Winston. They could question what the Saints are going to be now that Sean Payton is gone and obviously losing Drew Brees. That's fine. If you want to question all that, it's okay. But the Saints' confidence in being a couple of players away isn't solely in the fact that you're 4-0 against Brady and Atlanta and Carolina are rebuilding and in turmoil. That helps because you're going to play 6 games of your 17 against those 3 teams. But it's more the fact that you were 9-8 a year ago. You were 9-8 despite starting more players than any team in a single season in the history of the NFL. You were 9-8 despite starting 4 different quarterbacks, including rookie 4th-round pick Ian Book on Monday Night Football in a game when your whole roster, including your head coach, were gone due to COVID. You were 9-8 despite 4 starters on your offensive line missing a bulk of the season. Your best interior defensive lineman was suspended for 6 games. Your starting linebacker was injured week 1 and missed a handful of weeks, and you were starting a rookie alongside DeMario Davis and Pete Werner. Y'all, I mean, do we need to talk about Deontay Harris having to miss time? You were 9-8, and a Rams collapse at home in week 18 against the Niners from being in the postseason. Or a COVID-disrupted Monday night game against the Dolphins away from being in the postseason. Like, they are right there. I mean, no one is ever going to listen to this show and leave thinking, man, that guy is just an absolute unapologetic homer. No one is ever going to listen to me and say that. If anything, I get accused of the other side of it, of being too critical of the teams that I talk about and cover and follow. But this isn't a team that won 4 games a year ago. They were 9-8. They had a winning record. Yeah, listen, the Sean Payton variable I think is legitimate. Like, we saw it in 2012. You took Sean Payton off of the Saints, no matter how he put everything in place. Do your job. There was Aaron Cromer and Joe Vitt, all these guys that were in place to be keep it all, and you had you still had Drew Brees, and it was terrible. It was literally the worst defense in the history of the league. They missed the playoffs. They went 7-9, missed the playoffs. So I'm not going to tell you Sean Payton's absence won't matter. It may. It may be the thing that causes this thing to unravel a little bit. Maybe. Maybe not. When I look at the roster, which was decimated a year ago and still went 9-8, and now you're getting Jameis back healthy, you're getting Mike Thomas back healthy, you got nothing out of your first-round pick last year in Peyton Turner. He's going to be back healthy. Now you've drafted another receiver, another great weapon for Jameis Winston. You've drafted a left tackle. You've solidified your defense with 3 players that you drafted you think will help fortify. You added Tyrann Mathieu in free agency and Marcus May. You got younger on the defensive side of the ball. Man, what am I missing? I mean, the Saints today, and I've said this all offseason, say it again, the Saints today are better than they were week 18. They are a better football team today, healthy, than they were week 18. So I don't think it's just, well, they beat Tampa twice, so I think they're a player away. I think they're a player away. That doesn't mean you're going to win the Super Bowl, but in order to do that, you have to get into the playoffs. And this is a playoff team. The New Orleans Saints are a playoff team in 2022. Wonder what Howie Roseman and the Eagles will be doing in January. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.